Have you ever wondered what our planet would be like without those lines dividing it up? No more countries, no more passports, just one big, interconnected world. We're citizens of Earth. Think of the implications. Free movement, a single economy, maybe even a unified government. But hold on a second. A borderless world could create as many problems as it solves. Is it a utopian dream or a recipe for disaster?
In a world without borders, the whole notion of us versus them starts to get blurry. Instead, you might find yourself identifying more with groups based on shared values, interests, or even online communities. Would these new forms of belonging be strong enough to bind us together, or would we see a rise in factionalism and division? It's a question worth pondering.
Imagine a world without tariffs, trade wars, or economic sanctions. Goods and services flow freely across the globe, unburdened by political barriers. With reduced trade barriers, we could see a more integrated and efficient global economy. But without careful regulation, a borderless economy could also lead to the exploitation of resources and labor in less developed regions. It's a real concern, and one we need to address if we ever hope to create a just and equitable world without borders.
This is where things get really interesting. How do you govern a planet without borders? Do we elect a global president, form a United Nations on steroids, or new systems like direct democracy or regional councils? And what about the rule of law? Will we have a unified legal system, or will regions maintain their own laws and customs? How do we ensure everyone has a voice in shaping our planet's future?
Ever dreamed of packing your bags and moving to a tropical island, a bustling metropolis, or maybe even a research station on Mars? People are free to live and work wherever they choose, following opportunity, love, or simply a thirst for adventure. But unrestricted migration also presents significant challenges. It would take careful planning and resource management to ensure that everyone has a fair shot at a good life, regardless of where they choose to settle.
Now let's talk about the elephant in the room conflict. Would a world without borders be a more peaceful one? It's tempting to think so. After all, many wars are fought over territory and national interest. But human nature is complex, and conflict can arise from a multitude of factors. Without national borders, traditional wars might decrease, but we could see a rise in new forms of conflict. It's a sobering thought and a reminder that true peace requires more than just erasing lines on a map.
In a world without borders, cultures are free to intermingle and collide like never before. Imagine a global melting pot of languages, music, art, and cuisine. The cultural landscape of a borderless world would be vibrant, dynamic, and constantly evolving.
Our planet faces unprecedented challenges: climate change, pollution, and resource depletion. Greater cooperation on environmental protection and sustainable development is essential. Imagine a global effort to combat climate change and transition to cleaner energy sources. Without effective global governance, a borderless world could lead to unchecked degradation. We must strike a balance to create a sustainable future for all.
So there you have it. A world without borders is a world full of possibilities, both exhilarating and terrifying. It's a future where humanity is no longer divided by imaginary lines, where cooperation and understanding have the potential to flourish. But it's also a future fraught with risks, where new forms of inequality, conflict, and environmental degradation could emerge. What do you think? Is a world without borders a dream worth striving for, or a recipe for disaster? Let me know in the comments below.